Hey guys, so about today's episode, we kind of recorded it like close to 2 months ago. So if we mention like a date or an episode number, then yeah, it's outdated. And a few things I probably would have phrased differently, but you grow, you learn. I still enjoyed today's episode, so hope you guys like it. Hope you guys enjoy, and hope you guys stay tuned for more. Welcome back, guys, to episode 11 of The Shaded Youth.
Welcome back, and I am here once again, but not really once again to you, because little did you know, for a lot of the early episodes, I was there behind the camera as Ifad and Shaquille were chatting it up, and if you ever see them looking at the camera like a little like confused, it's because I was making faces at them, just for the sake of it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I didn't finish my intro, but thank you for explaining who you are to all the audience out there that at this point, a lot of them probably already know you, because we do have a small little fan base right now. But inshallah, once that grows, they'll get to know you as well. So as always, my name is Shaquille, and I'd like to start off by introducing our special, amazing guest, because every one of my guests is amazing, and I'll continue to say that before every single episode until you guys get sick and tired of it. So get used to it. And we have the amazing, the spectacular, the ultimate. That's his self-proclaimed title. The ultimate Rashidul Islam. How are you doing?
Wonderful. I'm not actually doing wonderful. Guess what time it is, guys? It is 8 a.m. And do you know when Shaquille woke me up for this? 6 a.m. And do you know what time he said he'd be at my house to do this? 7 a.m. And where are we right now? In my car. And when did he come? 7:30 actually. So, really, we start at 8 a.m. now. I'm really tired. My eyes hurt. And yeah, I'm doing wonderful, yeah. Isn't that right?
Well, okay. For starters, bro, he was going to be up at 6 anyway. Come on, it's right after Fajr. Man's is like not really that asleep yet. He's trying to sleep, but you know how it goes. Like, you're not really asleep at 6 o'clock yet, right? So
Shaquille is the reason I hate my ringtone.
What's your ringtone?
It's just a regular ringtone. It's just you keep calling about like anything. No, he's really one of my closest friends. Like that is what the only reason I can do this, really.
I feel like you only admitted that because you're on camera right now.
Oh yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah. There's my brother. He's like outside the window, just being like, "Yo, what the heck are you guys doing? We're recording a podcast. Get with the times, old man. Come on."
Oh man, are you gonna tell him after?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is hilarious. This is probably the first time that because usually I like to record in my room, and it's so embarrassing. I lose like all train of thought if like someone even remotely knocks on the door, or even just like calls my name, because then I'm like, oh shoot, this is like embarrassing. It's like when you're like getting into character for something, right? You get all pumped and stuff, and then that fourth wall just kind of breaks in front of you, and you just have to like be grounded in reality again. And you're like, well, I'm sitting in my room talking to a screen. Because a lot of the interviews now are through video call because of COVID and things like that. But Rash literally lives like 5 minutes away, so might as well take the opportunity, right?
Might as well capitalize on your best friends. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the fourth wall, I live for the fourth wall. Really, everything's meta, right? Everything's a
yeah. A hidden joke, or like not a hidden joke, but like an ongoing joke, is basically that every single, I don't know, there's like so much psychoanalysis that goes into like every one of our jokes and like memes and things. I don't know, there's like so many tiers to it that anyone outside will just be like, what are they talking about? Because we'll be referring to another reference of something else that was already a reference of something else, and it's just like it's just ongoing, right? One of the guests that we just had, well, that I just had, Hilal, right? He's another close friend of ours, and he's love him to death, but he's not as like meta, right? So sometimes he'll hear these memes or like these jokes and be like, what are you guys talking about? But enough of the fluff talk. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation.
I'm vegetarian.
That's fine. We have all options on this menu. So let's get into the bean sprouts and celery of this discussion.
Beautifully done.
Thank you. Rashidul, you go to college, correct?
Sadly, but yeah, I do.
Okay.
Right.
But if you go to college, isn't there a lot of fitna?
You go outside this fitna, man. We're in New York.
Yeah, exactly. My point is, as a college student, there's many temptations around you. And as someone as devilishly handsome as him, or as someone that likes to think I am me, you can kind of, fall into some things, right? There's a bunch of avenues that you can take once you're in college because you have that level of extra freedom. Even if you're not dorming, chances are by the time you hit 18, like a lot of doors that were previously locked are now unlocked, because your parents think you're more responsible. You're in college now, right? So you're an adult, and you can just do so much more. When all these doors let's rephrase it. Let's not call it fitna. Let's call it opportunity, right?
Good or bad?
Let's call it opportunity. When all these doors of opportunity are open right in front of you, what do you do, right? Who is there to protect you? Who is there to look out for you? Do you know what the answer to that is?
Allah.
Allah, right? But what can be a means that Allah uses in college? And let's say you are someone that doesn't have a community around you at home. You don't have a masjid base. You don't really have friends like that in your locality. Who can you turn to?
Is this rhetorical at this point?
Yes, it is. The answer is the Muslim Student Association, aka the MSA, aka every single brown Muslim boy's brunt of every joke that they make at this point. But aside from all the jokes, the MSA is truly, how do I put it? A safe haven for the college Muslim that is trying to avoid so many pathways to, falling into things that they might not want to, but when it's right in front of you, it really truly does take willpower, to avoid it. And I like to think of the MSA as a Muslim frat, right? Or a Muslim sorority, if you will.
Oh yeah.
And like any Muslim frat or sorority, they have the catchy acronym, right? But what are the famous frats? There's they're like Sigma something, right? Or they
Greek
have
letters, right?
Greek letters, or like regular letters. It'll be like ABC, Z, Alpha, T, or something like that, right? So the MSA.
You've never been near a frat before, have
I've
you?
Never. Or Zeta, I don't know, right? Zeta, Sigma, Alpha, Beta.
I wouldn't know, but I could tell you're making this one up right now.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not no frats are coming to mind, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
these frats, these sororities exist to form, a sense of collectiveness within the individual, right? And that's why they refer to themselves as frat brothers or sorority sisters. Well, what better frat than the Muslim frat, right? Because you have your own set of brothers, you have your own set of sisters. Brothers for the brothers, sisters for the sisters. Let's not delve into that, but obviously you have people that you call your brothers and sisters, and you treat them as if they truly are your brothers and sisters.
Oh, yeah.
And what that means, what that entails, is they look out for you, you look out for them, and you all treat each other as if you're part of the same collective. Rashidul, just give us a summary of how your experience in college has been with the MSA as your little entourage to guide you, or not guide you, but support you.
Oh man. Okay. So going into college, I wasn't really super practicing as a Muslim, right? But honestly, the MSA is you flock towards what your identity is, right? So I am originally Muslim. I have Muslim family. My family is practicing, right? So it's like, all right, I'll end up going to this club at some point. So I go, and these first impressions really matter. And like this one guy, like very dear to my heart, still to this day, right? He was a senior at this time, and he just came up to me and started asking me about what high school I'm from. You know, this stuff's not relevant to a college senior anymore, right? High schools, who cares, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what high school are you from? Like, what are you majoring in? You know, and as a freshman, you had this idea of what you want to major in, but who knows, right? By some point. And just like you want to go eat, right? That's one of the greatest things ever, right? Because humans are really social. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like like every single time you eat with someone, there's like a closer bond.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless you outright hate someone, which I hope you don't. But
Yeah, no, there's definitely like categorizations of like your friend group. Like there's like the people that you can like hang out with because you're eating with them, and like the term is like drinking buddy, right?
yeah,
Someone that you like get a drink with. Obviously, in our case, it would be like getting tea with or like getting coffee with. But you know, you get the point.
right. And it's just like that, right? Like I've never felt so welcome in a community, honestly. Like and honestly, this is an example of the ummah, right? Because like they won't let you go hungry, you know. These guys won't let you go hungry. Like these older brothers are like, you want to go eat? I'm a freshman. I was a freshman, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you know, I don't really have money, right? I don't wanna go out and eat right now, right? It's like, no, what are you talking about? We'll spot you straight up. They don't know me. They don't know a single thing about me except that I'm Muslim and my name, and apparently what high school I went to. It's beautiful, really. Like I never been looked out for like that in a school, right?
Right.
Because in public school, right, the teachers like they just teach and like let you go, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you join a club or something, but there's not much to it, right? The adults don't really treat you like an adult. They treat you like some kid, and that. But when you're in college, everyone's an adult. Everyone acknowledges each other as an adult, and yet they still have this like nurture for each other, right? It's not like, oh, you're a big guy, you can handle yourself, right?
Yeah.
I've actually seen people like that, like not like secular people, secular groups, where it's like, yo, if you can't pay for yourself, tough luck, right? It's kind of cold, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and not to overgeneralize, obviously, but just that, like, just like the feeling of like, yo, you're Muslim, I'm Muslim, you're younger than me, you know, you're my younger brother, right? You look out for each other. And touching on the public school part, I guess like we've had a sort of different experience than like the typical, because our high school had an MSA and like it was pretty big at a certain point, but you know, of course, like your experiences change between schools, right? So your college MSA right now, you've been involved, you know, you've been heavily involved in it. Whereas let's say in high school, that might have not been the case for a lot of people. So, and I think that's just the case for like a lot of people when they get into college, like, or because some people might see high school as like a stepping stone to like get into college, or like they might just see it as like, you know, school, right? But college is a lot of people, because of like the culture we grew up in and like the media and all these movies about like college is the time of your life, right? You do all the things you want to do in college and then your life sucks afterwards, right? A lot of people have this mentality, and so they wanna truly live it up, and they actually do want to experience things rather than just let me cop my A's for the semester. And you should, right? But uh of course, live your life, and don't just focus on letters and numbers. Getting back to the main point, you've spoken a lot of good so far on the experience and the effect that the MSA has had on you, right? But a lot of people would say that it's actually a detriment, right? It's actually a harm that uh, that inflicts your iman, your faith, your Islam, how you practice your faith. It can be what do you call it, like a um like a like a facade, right? It can be a facade that leads you to uh to bad deeds, or to evil, or to bad influences. What do you have to say for that, or to those people that say these things?
I would say the bad influences is not really it's not an issue for me personally, at least, right? I feel like each one of the people in the MSA is they're all good influences. I think the bad influence comes from within. I think I think it all starts with your intention, right? It all starts with um some people just do it just to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that intention.
We should give an example of what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's say the bake sale, right? The monthly bake sale.
Right.
It gets kind of like it kind of makes you feel like you're obligated to do something at some point, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think that feeling is proper. I don't think this like idea that if you're not in the MSA, you're doing something wrong. If you're not participating, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, like being hounded for like, hey, are you bringing anything from the bake sale? And then you're like, no, I'm busy, or like maybe honestly sometimes I'm lazy, and
Yeah.
I feel bad about being lazy, right?
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Or you know me too well. But where was I? Oh yeah, so
The bake sale.
yeah, the bake sale, being lazy, or honestly, like life just happens, right? Life
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, maybe I'm hanging out with my friends that day. Maybe I don't want to come into school that day, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't have classes sometimes during those days, and sometimes I might show up, right?
Mhm.
It's all variable. Each person's variable. Like you can't, like this kind of like structured role thing. It makes you feel like it feels good because you're a part of something, but it makes you feel guilty when you don't pull through with something, right?
Yeah.
And there's like a seesaw. You really gotta balance it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, another crucial point that I want to hit on was just like the variety of values, I guess you could say, when you enter this organization or this collective, right?
Oh yeah.
Because not everyone belongs to a monolith, right? We're not all the same person. We come from different experiences, so everyone has different values, and so based on the majority of those values, every single MSA and every single institution may showcase a different set of values. And in my opinion, it's not completely right to just overall judge a certain organization's outward appearance of these values, right? I'm not gonna go into specifics, but if you kind of know the scene, then you kind of know of some of what I'm talking about, right? And I think just like there blossoms this superiority complex in some of the more conservative students, I guess, right? Because they may have come from a more closed off background where they were sheltered, or they were only surrounded by people that had the same set of values and principles and the same way of thinking as them. And so if they see something completely different, they might they might take it as like a personal attack, maybe, or they might just see it as like, no, you're doing something completely wrong and I have to call you out for that, or I don't know, something to that effect, right? And of course, if someone is doing like something explicitly wrong, then advise them. But again, there's a set of guidelines for that. You don't just like rant on Twitter about this one specific organization or this one specific person that is giving you bad vibes because of what they're doing in public. Do you have any thoughts on that? Especially with Twitter, because I know you're way too active on Twitter.
Oh well,
not recently, but
I've been so active that I'd have to have gone inactive for like the past few months, right? Yeah, it was too much for me, really.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a very toxic, even the Muslim culture on Twitter. Like you could tell that the average age of those Muslims are like our college MSA students. Honestly, like you can just tell.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just by the way that they're talking, like there's no nuance, right? Everyone's very like, and I think that's just something that comes with age, right? Nuance.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think everyone just wants to feel that their existence is justified. Honestly, that
That's a good way to put it.
right.
Yeah.
Their ideals and their existence is justified, and if theirs isn't, I mean, if theirs is, then others aren't, right?
Mhm.
And that's a very problematic approach, right? Because there's so many people from all walks of life. If you take any person, right, and their life and their story, right, you can make an entire like a blockbuster movie out of it, like top tier,
Yeah.
right? But that's the thing. Everyone has like these untold stories. You can't really come at someone like that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the guy in the MSA who's making those tasteless four wives jokes, right?
Oof.
Ouch. Right? Guess what? Maybe they didn't learn much about Islam. Maybe they know like that. Like that's like a more like a trivia thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not really practical, especially in the U.S.
Yeah. No. Obviously.
It's just it's like a trivia thing. Like that's their knowledge of like that's part of their knowledge in Islam, right? And
Yeah, I get everyone has like an immature phase.
Yeah, and honestly, like it's a little irritating to me, right? That's because I need
No, to me too.
Yeah, but
Definitely to the sisters on the other side.
Oh yeah. But you know what? Alhamdulillah, like when that brother does that, he doesn't get like roasted around the spot. You know,
Not on the spot. You had to
No,
take
no.
him to a back room and then
and then,
shots fired.
and everyone in that like people are like, whoa, what's going? No, but it's really just like, please can you not do that, right? It's very respectful. Like I've seen it.
Gotcha.
Or like I've been through it, I guess. It's very like they make sure not to embarrass you. They make sure that your honor is maintained, and you know even in the midst of like something that's like, oh man, I'm gonna get roasted, right?
Yeah.
It's like getting sent to the principal's office, right? But if you get sent to the principal's office and the principal's just like, please don't do it again. Like, you know, it's not right.
Yeah.
There's people around. You're not really mad at the principal. You're not mad at anyone anymore, right? You end up looking within yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You don't get defensive. You look within yourself. You feel as if like you did something wrong, right? You might have done something wrong. You might have made someone uncomfortable, and that's, I could say, outside of the MSA, that's just real life
definitely.
stuff, right?
Yeah. I'd give the example of like, let's say you're being scolded as a kid, right? And I'll just use like the cliche example of like a father that fathers, I guess, tend to get more angry and or are more likely to outwardly discipline the child, right? Well, the mother is more nice and more loving, right? Both ways, both methods are crucial to disciplining and guiding a child, right? But let's say in one particular example, the kid did something wrong. The father yells at him and says, "Why did you do that? You're an idiot. You're stupid." And then you get like a slap on the cheek or whatever, right? That kid is not gonna think that the action is wrong now. He just thinks that doing it wrong in front of him and getting caught for it was wrong because he got punished for it very harshly. Whereas, let's say the mother, she comes up to him, she says, why'd you do this? And she gives him like a kiss to like say, you're not a bad kid. You just did something wrong. And she explains to him very nicely of why that thing is wrong. Probably that kid won't do it again. Why? Because he doesn't want. One, he now knows why that thing was wrong. But two, and my theory is that this is probably the bigger reason in a lot of cases, he doesn't want to let the mother down, right? He doesn't want to disappoint them because that's someone he loves. And in a similar fashion, if someone you respect comes up to you with advice and they say very nicely, like, hey, don't do this, yada, 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 you're not going to do it most likely because you don't want to disappoint them, even if you don't fully get the reasoning of why you shouldn't do it, right? The MSA culture is a really fascinating one because it's like multifaceted, right? And what I find very interesting is that every single country or every single Western country, right? Because Muslim countries don't really need an MSA. I don't even know if they have one. I don't know. But every single Western country kind of has their variation, right? The U.S. has the MSAs, right? I believe England has something called the ISOCs, the Islamic Societies, right? And then Australia has MSAs. Do they call it MSAs? I believe so.
I wouldn't be sure. I haven't looked into the Australian young Muslim scene, really.
No, me neither. But Yeah, like every single Western country has their variation. And actually, even like non-Western countries, like because I remember one time there was a party. There was a party of people from India that came, to one of our local masjids, and the brother who was talking about his experience as a college student in India, right? He was doing some sort of engineering, and he was talking about like the MSA and like how he would would try to like like recruit people to like come with him to the masjid and like on retreats and stuff like that, right? So even in India, I think they have some, at least, right, in some institutes. But yeah, it's just a really cool phenomenon that I've noticed in that it's not just like a US thing, it's like a global thing. And I find that really cool that so many institutions have this one organization that that Muslim students can just turn back to, and Lord knows that every other group and identity has something like that, right? So we might as well have one too, and we might as well, allow it to keep ourselves in check and to truly find that in a community that we can turn back to and and collectively turn ourselves back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow his deen properly. And inshallah, after everyone graduates too, I've seen a lot of that bond is continued, right? Where people go on trips together, people literally like they're their best man at their weddings. Like how many weddings just from like the alumni at your college have happened in like the past couple of years, and all the MSA bros are invited to? Like that's just something cool right there.
Yeah, it's like you watch your boys grow up.
Right. Like that's literally what it is. And that's literally what it is. And yeah, it's just something really cool that I wanted to at least dedicate an episode to, because me and a lot of our friends, a lot of my friends, a lot of the people that we hang around, it's something that affects our lives. So it's a cool topic to just touch on.
I do want to say one thing. In terms of the MSA, a lot of the interactions in the MSA room is straight up just learning manners, right? Manners. And just dealing with people. It's a social environment, honestly, right? Like anywhere else. Maybe introverted people learn how to interact with large groups of people really well there, right? But I will say a lot of spirituality, a lot of like the true gems, it comes from the events, right? When you see these speakers, these are people that studied years, like some even decades, right? And they come to your college, right, to speak for a few hours, and they're not gaining much from this except the pleasure of Allah, right?
Yeah, because bro, Lord knows that our budgets are crap.
Off.
Especially, bro, trust me, because I was on the board for the previous year, and inshallah for the upcoming year, our budget is terrible. And speaking to a lot of other people on other MSA boards, their budgets are really bad too.
Yeah, so these scholars really like they really just they don't gain much, right? Like monetarily.
yeah.
And
some of them do, but
they do, right? And yet, like, I feel like every single time you go into one of these lectures, you ever see those lecture halls?
Yeah.
It's like more than any classroom. Like
yeah.
I don't even. It's amazing. Like at this point, these like these scholars should be teaching classes. In the college. Obviously, like in a secular environment, we can't. But it's really amazing. Like everyone, like they go home, they reflect, they just feel. I feel like if they come out of this with their iman feeling secure, in peace, I think that's the best thing that can come out of this, right? It doesn't matter about all these rulings or whatever you learn, right? Because there's different people, different rulings that they follow, right? But it does come down to like a strong sense of trust in Allah. I feel like
and the action plan is important too.
Yeah,
like because they all come with practical tips on how to showcase that and how to stay steadfast on your deen. Your point about a lot of these scholars, they do this so they can have the satisfaction of seeing people actually like benefiting from them, right? It reminded me of something that happened this year. Because for a lot of our events, I was the one in contact with the speakers, right? So for one speaker, he reached out to us actually, and we finalized like a date for him, and I got his number, and I was the one like speaking to him directly, and yeah, it looked like it was gonna go down, and and then right after that, I finally hit him with a number, right, that we could get him as an honorarium. And I didn't know he had a set price beforehand because he didn't mention anything, right? And then that's when I finally hit him with, we can pay you this amount for the honorarium. And he didn't reply. He didn't reply at the same speed that he usually did, right? He took a couple hours, but I saw he saw the message because it was on WhatsApp. But he responded with, okay, sorry, akhi, or this is the gist of it. Sorry, akhi, I won't be able to do the event because my standard price is blank amount. I'm not gonna say the amount because I don't want to give any details of who this guy is at all. And yeah, some MSAs that he's worked with in the past might be like, oh, you gave them an unfair discount, but not us, or something like that. No, I don't want to put him in that position. But anyway, he said this is my standard price, and I'm just sorry I won't be able to do this event because I truly do value the presentation that I've worked very hard on, and that's a respectable position. That's commendable. That's fine. Like if you have a price for what you offer, for the product you offer, then that's cool. Like keep your price. That's completely fine. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Let's see if we can, well, like from our end, let's see if we can try to find something within the budget and like talk to the administration and somehow get a higher amount finalized for the honorarium. Could come back to him a few days later, and after a lot of discussions, the amount that we did get, it wasn't that much. It wasn't even like a quarter of his actual price. And I was like, no, this is an insult to even ask him for it. So yada yada yada. I sent a very lengthy paragraph explaining our situation, explaining that this is what we can offer you, but I would feel ashamed even to even ask for that. So I completely understand if you don't want to do it. It's been an honor to speak to you, to have a discussion with you, and you know what? Not like I was very nice with the paragraph and very polite. And he again, he didn't respond like straight up after that. He took a few hours to respond, and I believe it was a few hours. I'm not actually sure anymore. But he responded with another lengthy paragraph. And the gist of it was, no, you actually don't have to apologize. It's fine. I did some thinking. It's actually the right upon the audience and you even, and upon me as a student of knowledge to attain that knowledge. And it's my duty and my responsibility to spread that knowledge wherever I can see benefit in. And so he accepted that price that we offered him, literally less than a fourth of the price.
SubhanAllah.
That is crazy. You'll never get, I don't know anyone like outside a Muslim scholar that will take that I don't know, I don't want to call it disrespect, but that will take that much humility upon themselves, because he had a standard price. Usually on like prices for a product, there's no real haggling, right? It's kind of demeaning. But mashallah, shout out to him that he accepted us, and we made sure to to truly treat him with the best service that we could for that event, because what he did, it really truly touched our hearts and truly did mean a lot to us.
Yeah, and honestly, the way that these speakers, they present themselves with, it's clear that they work on refining their intention every moment of the day, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of the biggest things as students we should be learning from this, right? There's so many lessons that come out, but one of the biggest ones is that, right, intention, right? As an MSA member, as a student, right, as someone that shows up to the room like 3-4 times a day to pray, right?
Not 5.
Well, Fajr time if you're at the MSA, mashallah, man. But with the average case,
Maybe
yes,
during finals.
maybe during finals if you're
Yeah.
like low key sleeping in the library, right? But yeah, and then it comes down to the intention, right? These bake sales, let's say, are just fundraising. Money gets to your head, right? Like you see the numbers, you're like, yeah, I feel good, we made this money, but it's not about you feeling good,
Yeah.
right? The only way you should be feeling good, I mean, that's the goal, anyways, right? Is with the pleasure of Allah, with the idea, the notion in mind that that this money will go towards helping Allah's servants, right?
Right.
Somewhere else in the world, you won't even see them, but on the day of judgment, right? Or in Jannah, right? They will thank you, right? Right? They you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
Through this, right? When you have these good intentions, when you have this.
Yeah, and just on the subject of charity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises you that if you give in charity, Allah will give you something more in return.
Exactly, right?
Whether it be literal money, because there are cases of that, or something in the akhirah. It's Allah will reward you with much more than what you gave.
Right. And so when you work, and this is why the MSA is great, right? Because
we sound like a promo or an advertisement.
Oh, come on, man. I've had my rough days with the MSA. I've had my good days, right? But I will say that it has changed me as a better person. So I will do this promo if I want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with this like good intention, right? It's you can't really lose, right? You can't lose. It drives people to attain the best within themselves. I feel like no one really regrets being helpful, being a part of a system per se.
Yeah.
But maybe if it's like the intricate problems that they have, right? It's not. I wouldn't say that it's as big. I don't want to like degrade someone's experience, of course, right? But on average, right?
How dare you invalidate my experiences?
I have seen like very non-religious people, like they're the ones making the adhan, right? They're the ones like you walk in, right? They're the ones leading like 10 guys in prayer, right? I've seen that happen. I've seen it change. I've seen like, you know, once they got a cut on their arm, they're like, oh my God, did my wudu break, right?
Yeah.
These guys didn't care about that stuff before, but now, like, because they have this brotherhood or sisterhood, it's and this bond, right?
Yeah.
These bonds of good people, all these, and successful in this world, might I also add, right?
Yeah.
It's good networking.
It's very good networking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to hate networking, but I think recently I finally saw the benefit of it. Because, I don't know, before I used to be like, oh, you're just talking to people. That sounds fake. But nah, it's like you're talking to people for the sake of it, and along the way you get connections. But, you know, anyway, I don't want to drag this on for too long. In closing, I pray that we can all attain this level of unity and attain this level of this feeling of collectiveness within this ummah, and to truly further our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his creation. And I pray that we can all reunite in Jannah as brothers and sisters, and to truly love one another for the sake of Allah and live for the sake of Allah. Thank you once again, Rashidul. I know you had no choice in this matter to be on, but I'm still very grateful. And thank you guys for tuning in every single week. We're on episode 11, guys, going strong. We're not stopping anytime soon. Hopefully, inshallah. Hopefully. And yeah, keep coming back. We're gonna keep making these, whether you like it or not. I like making them, so I'm here.
I'm finally awake now, so thank you, Shaquille. I will be productive for the rest of my day. Thank you so much for.
All right, we all benefited. Salam, guys.